Hello everyone, welcome back to Major Hi-Fi. Today we have a new pair of earbuds from Audeze. These are the Euclid. Let's go, let's get into it. So Audeze is definitely a pretty well-known name in the audio nerd, audiophile world. They have quite a number of very well-liked headphones, LCD-X, LCD-4, LCD-2, 3, all of the above. You've probably heard of them, maybe you've even tried some of them. Most of their really popular models are over-ear headphones, but they do make earbuds. They've had the LCD-i3 and LCD-i4, and recently they've released the Euclid, which is a planar magnetic in-ear earbud, of course, anyways. And these run for a pretty penny. They are $12.99, which is in between the prices, I guess, of the other two earbuds they've done, which ran for $8.99, and then the other one was $24.95. So this is kind of in between those. And yeah, so let's just go on ahead and unbox this. So very simple experience here, which I appreciated. I'm a little bit overwhelmed sometimes by the amount of things that come in these boxes, but this one, that's all that we get. It's just this and everything's in here. So all for the simplicity. So we have this hard shell carrying case with a nice little carabiner clip on it to clip it to your pants or whatever you want to. So here are the earbuds. They've got these nice sort of indentations just to put them in here, and then we've got the braided MMCX cable with a 3.5mm termination. And then before we take a closer look at the earbuds, just hold your horses, let's look at what else we're gonna get. So first of all, we have our 1/4 inch converter, pretty standard, definitely wanna have that. We have a cleaning brush, then we get some extra ear tips. There's a pair already on there, and then we've got 2 more pairs of rubber ones in addition. And then we also get 3 pairs of foam ear tips, 1, 2, 3. And then we get a nice little clip if you want to clip these to like your shirt or your pants, like the cord goes through here. And these all come in this little carrying bag, so you could put your earbuds in here, or you could put them in here and then put that in the carrying case and have them double protected or whatnot. So yep, those are all the accessories. Now let's take a closer look at the actual earbuds. All right, so here are the Euclid. As you can see, they're definitely a pretty hefty pair of earbuds. The other Audeze earbuds, the LCD-i3 and i4, were also kind of uniquely shaped. Not like this, but they were larger. Not the smallest and not the lightest. They've got a little bit of heft to them. They don't feel upsettingly heavy. They're not like uncomfortable in terms of their weight. But they're definitely not a super light, super small pair of earbuds. So let me show you kind of the fit on these. It's a little bit of a bit more adjusting to get them into the right place in your ears. They don't just lock in immediately, at least not for my ears. But once I got them there, they were fine. Just a little bit more hefty. It's nothing crazy. But I've seen some people say that, you know, earbuds that are around this size, they feel like too big. I personally didn't, but as you can see, they look, you know, pretty standard in my ears, but there is a little bit of extra real estate going on. So these use a single 18mm planar magnetic driver with no crossovers, and they have Audeze's phaser waveguides, which are basically supposed to, quote, eliminate the phasing and distortion typical of most closed back dynamic in-ears. These have an impedance of 12 ohms and a frequency response of 10 hertz to 50 kilohertz. All right, you know what time it is. Time to talk about how these sound. Okay, so for the soundstage on these, they're definitely kind of in the group of earbuds that are pushing the limits of what width is achievable on an earbud. So think companies like 64 Audio, Final Audio, like A8000 and stuff, that can really push the limits of how wide we can go. These are definitely a ton of width going on. They definitely do have some blend going on in terms of the fact that they seem to want to marry things together a fair amount, and they want to definitely anchor things to the soundstage. They want to make things holographic, but they don't really want things to be levitating so much that they're going to sort of lose their weight and kind of, I mean, we're going to get into the impact of these in a minute and how impactful they are and punchy. So the soundstage, I think, kind of has a bit of a tighter grip on things to an extent, despite its width. In terms of its separation, I think it definitely does really aim for some cohesion, just because of the fact that there's a lot of kind of really intense attack going on, and if you were to spread that out too much, it might just feel, I guess, disjointed. And so by keeping things a little bit blended, it helps to kind of bring all that together and make it a very solid, kind of pleasantly weighty sound to it. There's a good sense of like oomph, in that sort of center of the stage especially. So all this talk of, punch and impact brings me to, no surprises, the low end. These have a really, really attack-heavy, like percussive low end. I mean, percussive is not even doing it justice. These really, really do have a great thud, a great impact. Definitely one of the best I've seen on an earbud before. So it's a very high energy low end response that really brings out a lot of movement. It's able to get that kind of that impact, that pluck, that sort of thundering response from drums, bass lines, anything going on down there. It really does just bring out those qualities and extend them forward. So you get a very up close feel of whatever's going on down there. There's definitely a boost on the bass, unsurprisingly. So we're getting a fair amount of sub-frequency definitely represented, but it's all very, very tightly gripped. Once again, kind of extending that attack, extending that impact. So we're not gonna get too much rumble. It's, gonna definitely prevent any type of muddying things up, but it's going to pack a real punch. So just be prepared for that. Okay, so mid-range. These definitely do have a somewhat extended mid-range, though not intensely. It's a bit like plateaued in the boost. I said this about something I reviewed recently, I forget what, but I said that it had a bell curve that basically goes from, the lowest of the low mid to the highest of the high mid, and it's just a steady sort of peak, and basically hits its highest point right in the middle of the mid. And that's what this does. It's a very sort of even keel boost going on in the mid-range. So it's a little bit, I guess that wouldn't imply flat, would it? But it does definitely make things very balanced, very kind of, like I said, it's a sort of plateaued boost. So we're getting a fair amount of extension from the mids across the board. So it doesn't feel like any particular area is kind of being given a major boost forward. Maybe a little bit of extra in the high mid. So it's got a nice pop to it, like a nice kind of, it adds to that impact, that attack in the low end. The mid-range is further building upon that character. Even though the mids are extended, they're not so extended that they're like surpassing the already really strong low end, because if we had the low end this strong and then we had an even stronger mid-range, I think things would start to feel a bit harsh. Despite the boost on the mids in these, they don't feel intensely groomed or anything. They don't feel intensely cut anywhere to the point that we're getting a lot of modulation going on. They definitely let each composition and each song kind of speak for itself and kind of, choose the timbre it wants to take. They're not overly sort of pushing any sort of coloring on the sound in the mid-range. It's definitely a very transparent mid-range, at least to me for the most part. Okay, so the high end, this is where things I think are a little bit less transparent. The high end is definitely a little bit darkened. That 8 to 16K range is definitely not shining. It's probably got some sort of saturation going on that's dampening the edge, sort of taking things down a notch. It's really only a few decibels away from getting that sort of glossy, shiny sound to it. But it definitely is not going to give you that intense crispness, but it is going to give you a ton of definition and detail. Once again, this is a very snappy, detail-heavy earphone or earbuds, so you're going to get that still, but not in the form of crispy, like sizzling sound. So it's just a warmer high end that kind of balances out that pretty extended mid-range by giving us a little bit of a break on the high end. To not overdo it, to make things a bit more, you can't be boosting low end, mid-range, and high end. You've got to kind of chill out somewhere, right? And so the high end chills out really well. It's not super bright. It's not, I've definitely heard a lot of darker IEMs as of recently than this one. I would not put this all the way on that end of the scale. It's probably, like the brighter side of darkness, if that makes sense. The lights are not totally turned off, but it's definitely not a super glossy earphone. It's got like a fair amount of sort of saturation and coloring going on in the high end that is definitely kind of pulling it back to earth and just keeping a pretty rounded edge on the high end as to not be too aggressive. All right, so overall, the Euclid just excels at impact, punch, detail, snap, pop, like all those words. This is a very defined, very hard-hitting earbud, and it's super exciting to listen to. It's great for getting a high energy, really engaging sound that, just brings out all that ear candy and all those like sort of fun areas of music to listen to, I guess. I'm really feeling like this is gonna be exciting to all of you audio nerds and audiophiles, and especially anyone who's a big fan of Audeze. These really do, carry the flame quite well. They definitely meet this kind of 2021 standard of sound that's being set for earbuds at the moment. They definitely meet that and exceed it in many cases. And yeah, I just think these are a very impressive pair of earbuds. They just have this width and this kind of, like I keep saying, impact and punch to them that is really, really impressive. I appreciate that added coloring in the high end to kind of give them a bit of a unique edge. I appreciate how even keel the mid-range is. I really like the way that these are able to kind of give us all that impact and not feel harsh at any time, and they know how to round things out in the right areas. A very self-aware earbud that kind of knows how to accomplish its goal and how to make how to make a statement and make it so that it's transparent to an extent, but also has a bit of a signature sound that gives you a reason to be getting this one over any other earbud because you like that, Audeze character. And yeah, so these are just a really fun and cool. What descriptive words. But these are a really fun pair of earbuds, and let me know if you have any other questions in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. I will link to my written review. I will also link to Major Hi-Fi's IEM ranking tool where these will be. So I will be back very soon with some more reviews and videos, and until next time, happy listening.